2020. Do I have a motion? Motion by Herbst, second by Jean. Is there any discussion of the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor can signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item number 2 is our director's report, and I will pass it over to Eric.
So there's a number of items. The construction updates for both of the plants are in there as well. And if any of the commissioners have questions on specific items, you should be able to answer them or get you the information. So
How long is that hole going to be behind the Marathon County Services building? That's a huge excavation.
it should be filled as of last week. Did they get the paving done
really?
on Friday?
I haven't been by in a few days.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the final is there, Joe. It was really interesting though, because all the material they moved over to the Colby site when they excavated, and then they brought it all back, and after compaction and stuff, they were about 1,000 yards short. So, and you know, all of that material came back in, so we had some additional costs,
Okay.
but yeah, it was pretty interesting that we were that short on material after it was compacted, so, yeah.
Did they replace more pipe than they intended, or because it did dig back quite a bit further from the initial hole, or it appeared that way?
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. You know, Becker Hoppy hadn't told me that they're replacing more than what they had proposed, so.
Any other discussion?
These railroad requirements, I'm always interested in what the railroads are asking about. That's your final point. Additional requirements which may prevent us from getting the construction done.
Dave, do you wanna?
Yeah, Clark Dees did a good job of reviewing this project with the railroad so we'd get the clearance, but then we were held up on the easements. And we pretty much have that taken care of, at least with 2 of them on the major property. But then the railroads decided that Union Pacific owned it instead of the railroad that approved it. And so now they're going through some more hoops to satisfy the second round.
I see.
And so Diane's submitting material to them and see where it goes. But as slow as they sometimes move, I'm concerned that maybe it's not going to happen this.
Is it just right of way, or is there actually track there?
Oh yeah, there's track there, but then the right-of-way extends on each side of the track. And our force main is located within that railroad right.
So how far west is that, Dave? Is that,
How far west?
yeah.
Our industrial park lift station is on the other side of the Little Red River on the west side of it. And then there's those Strawberry Fields Apartments. What road is that? 48th?
48? Okay.
Yeah.
There.
Yes, Mr. Jean.
The license agreement that we do have, there's probably a license agreement for the gravity, which would be independent of that, and then the one for the force main. And I thought both were with Northwest Railroad, wherever it was. So what did you say you thought it was with, which railroad?
I might have the names confused, but I believe that that's right. It was with like the North Central or whatever. But then they sold that lane to Union Pacific, from what I understand from the emails. So
Yep.
that should have carried across.
Yes.
But Union Pacific didn't get their chance to approve the project.
I see. Because that, yeah, it's just like an easement. They call it a license agreement, but it should carry over with the land.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I would just like to comment, I'm happy, and I'm going to say this to Eric and everyone else, to see that a lot of these positions are being filled. So that makes me very happy. I'm sure you too.
Is there any further discussion on the director's report?
I don't know if the Donahue project status report is part of your report, or is that separate? Is that another item?
It is part of the director's report,
Okay.
yeah.
Could you, maybe I'm missing something here, on these, on the project-related budget snapshot sheets. So, just taking the first one here, which is the period September 6th to October 3rd, invoice number 40. Down at the bottom, we have invoiced, cumulative, and budget. Now, I take it the budget is that straight line across the top?
That's correct, yes.
And then, so are the numbers on the 5th of September cumulative, or is that, it can't be, because that's,
Well, the latest invoice is the blue, but the cumulative on what we've spent to date as of 5 September is in that,
is
kind
it,
of,
that's the orange?
yes.
Okay, so we add up the blues and we get the orange. Gotcha.
Yes.
Yep, I see it now. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
I just want to let John, I want to let you know that we put you on mute. We could hear some of the draft background. If you want to unmute yourself, I think it's *6. So, just so you know. All right, we're good to move on to item number 3. Discussion and possible action approving the award of the recommended solar proposal. Eric, would you like to?
Yeah, so we went out with an RFP requesting proposals for our solar project. We had a lot of calls, but we had 3 proposals. Some of the firms will be bidding the construction, and so one of the caveats in the proposal was that we wanted third-party inspection, so if they provided, the engineering services and stuff, we wanted somebody different to do the construction, so we have that oversight on our end. So, but it came down, we had 3 proposals, as you can see here. We had 3 different people evaluate those, and Clark Dietz came out on top with those. So from staff's perspective, we would recommend moving ahead with Clark Dietz to begin the design and planning of the solar project.
Do I have a motion?
I have a question. Unless I'm looking at something wrongly, it seems like there's a considerable discrepancy or disparity in the cost, and I'm sure there's a reason for that. 9790 versus 235. Is there explanation for that?
My explanation on that from reviewing the proposals is, like, one of the proposals under IMEG, they had a different list in there about other fees
Okay.
to be billed. On the Apex cost, I didn't feel that they were covering everything that we wanted them to cover. That was my interpretation of the proposal. It didn't feel as complete as the other one. So I'm not sure if Tanya had mentioned she might be dialing in or not. I'm not sure if she did, so.
I'm on if you have questions.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Dean.
I have a question. What is the projected construction cost? Do we have an idea?
I don't know if, Tanya, if you guys looked at that when you were doing the proposal on, just some rough estimates. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, give Russ.
Yeah.
We did a little bit, but the proposal asked for an evaluation on building 3 different size facilities. So it's difficult to predict what the cost would be specific to the site for each of those scenarios. So we looked up costs of similar sizes of sites, and I can tell you what that is. Also, we use, as a caveat, the proposal asked for us to look at the size of this and to propose on it based on electric data from the existing plants, not from the new plants. So this is going to be a very rough number, something similar in size to this, based on recent construction data in the Midwest, was upwards of 1.75 million for more of a full build-up.
Yep.
Based on that estimate, what is the projected payback? Because it would be closer to 2 million with your fees. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we didn't run that here. That's different for every utility. And not all of those other projects were associated with WPS necessarily. So it really has to do with what you pay for your electricity and how much your location for one as well.
I was just curious if there is a reasonable payback. That's the reason for asking. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say industry-wide, that's come down a fair amount. So people are making decisions to go this direction because you can see maybe more like a 7 to 10-year payback or less. That's something that we get into as we kind of move forward here. Solar is really starting to cash flow for third-party investors, and that's a good indication that, the market is able to bear it on its own. So then it becomes more reasonable for municipalities or other public entities to take this on. Because it's just starting to make smart cash sense in how you get your power.
So Eric, so the 235 is a design fee?
No, that's all the way through construction management.
Okay.
Yep.
And again, I may have missed something here, but are we committed to this?
Well, I suppose the commission has the authority. I mean, you'll see the cost to complete breakdown in the packet on their proposal. It's on page 28. And so, for the planning and preliminary design is 14.8, and then survey and soil analysis is 19,000. Prepare and present 3 design options is 23,000. So, and then the rest of it is final design through construction. So, so it is broken out into steps, starting with the planning. And did you not see that, Joe or Jim?
I'm not sure. I'm looking, is it in the, it's not in the RFP.
No, I think it's from the back of that section. It's about 4 or 5 pages back, Jim.
21, oh,
Section
okay.
3.
I see some page numbers now. I'm sorry, I haven't analyzed this earlier.
That looks like it might be it there, Jim. Cost to complete.
This is the management for a consulting fee.
Yeah, so that would be their breakdown. Clark Dietz, right there. Clark Dietz is.
I mean, I'm in favor of solar. I'm not clear, and maybe I've missed something. That we are or are not going ahead with this.
Yeah, the proposal is to move ahead with this,
Okay.
yeah. It's just, I think that there's steps, we want to make sure that the solar that we're providing for the utility is, the appropriate. We want to look at the payback costs. We want to look at, is it better for us to only generate 50% of our load, or should we be generating 100% of our predicted, load, and what those cost differences are, and we as a utility haven't gone through that process yet, so it's all incorporated in here under this cost. But if you want, we could go through maybe cost items 1 through 3 at this point to award up to the point, and then make the final decision on to go to final design with them. But at each steps of these, we're going to be bringing the information back to the commission on updates and, and moving forward.
No, I'm fine with approving, I don't know if
Okay.
there's a motion made or not.
Nobody's made a motion yet. I would entertain a motion. Motion by Herbst, second by Jean. Any more discussion? I'm sorry, John, you're on mute. If you want to unmute, I think it's *6. Is there any other discussion?
Call the question.
All right.
Hello,
Oh, hi.
I've been trying, this is John.
Yes, we got you now.
Sorry, but I'm trying to get at. Eric, what, in the scoring and evaluation criteria, you gave more weight to locality or closeness than you did to cost. Why is that?
Yeah, typically on our
Location,
professional services, we don't give a lot of weight to cost, John, because we're more interested on a engineering firms and other professional services on their ability to deliver than we are on the actual costs.
So could you explain what goes into then the location and experience, and working with the utilities? And what, this was with IMG and Clark Dietz?
Right, so which criteria are you looking at?
I'm looking at the firm's location and experience, and I'm particularly interested in the difference between IMEG and Clark Dietz, from your observations. You have at the bottom of each one of the categories on the
Yeah,
selection criteria, the firm's location and experience working with other utilities. What is the difference not having, we've got the Clark Dietz proposal, but we don't have the others, the IMEG and others.
right, so from my perspective on scoring is Clark Dietz had more experience in the upper Midwest here than IMG did, and also on larger facilities. But they did score out fairly similar.
So why is there the $19,000 of survey and soil boring cost? Don't we have a lot of that information already?
Not in the locations, we don't have the surveys done, and we haven't done any soil boring locations on these on the property we're proposing to put this.
Is there any more, do you have any more questions? I'm not hearing any. I just want to make sure if we're ready to vote. Oh, I can kind
Just
of,
one comment quickly.
Yes.
I would hope that we would bring this back after the 3 phases or 3 options are developed, as Eric had said.
Yeah, we'll,
So if we could, do a check-in at that time.
yeah, absolutely. We'll bring back the 3 different options along with some additional costs and, some payback information and stuff like that for the commission to review.
okay. So I guess we're ready to vote on this. All of those in favor of approving the award of the recommended solar proposal can signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you.
Just a comment, Mayor and Eric. I have a number of questions about how we're proceeding here, and I think John does as well. So I would hope that at future meetings, we had a kind of a close monitoring on where we're going here and what the ultimate cost is going to be, the utility.
Well, yeah, I think the construction estimates will be presented along with potential years of payback on whatever options that are presented. Usually when we go out for professional services, it's work that's much more straightforward, with the utility. And so here, the utility in-house, we don't have expertise on solar.
Right.
And so we're kind of put this RFP together to, do everything from planning the solar all the way through construction, so.
Okay,
All
fine,
right.
thanks.
Next item up for discussion.
Yeah. If you got, Joe, if you could just pass this down. I'm sorry I didn't get this into the document, but just a couple of quick things here. Our team has met since this board approved the Water Savvy program at our last meeting, and we looked at the schedule of media opportunities coming up, and we really think the January City newsletter is a major part of our media campaign. So we're proposing that we kind of get our ducks in order between now and that January City newsletter. The time will go quickly because of the holidays, And that will be, we think, an ideal time and medium to launch this program and inform the city. The city newsletter is ideal in that it goes to all households. In the meantime, we'll put together a more detailed media schedule using other means of communication, such as the website, emails, public service announcements, etc. Obviously, by coming online in January, we will focus on in-home use, and we'll start preparing our outdoor use message probably in the March-April timeframe as spring approaches. Any questions on that? Okay, thank you. As far as rain barrels are concerned, that's kind of a separate project here that Commissioner Robinson really raised as a possibility to this board. I have not done very much on this except to kind of analyze the process here and look at other utilities around the state that are offering rain barrels. 4 of these steps that I've listed here, one would be to identify a provider of the barrels themselves, as well as the apparatus needed to hook the barrel up to your downspout. We would also have to decide whether we're going to make these barrels available at cost to those residents who wanted to use them, or make them available free. Utilities in the state do both. I think Milwaukee offers theirs free to those who want to use them. Developing instructions to help folks install these barrels, and then developing some kind of a distribution protocol. I don't know if the barrels would be available at the water plant, at the yard waste site, at City Hall. These are things that we'd have to go into, and our team really hasn't had a chance yet to look closely at that. Unless we're instructed differently, we could begin to take a look at this program more seriously. We have several months before the summer season, so we could develop a program here over the winter if the commission wants to move in that direction.
Is there any discussion on this? I see we're agendized for just discussion, so any questions or comments?
I'm happy to work with Jim on trying to find more information on rain barrels, and have some other links to other communities that have done it. But, Jim, I'll be in contact with you.
Thanks, John. I'm gathering that nobody's wildly objecting to at least investigating a rain barrel program for the city of Wausau.
No, I think it's great.
Okay, good. All right, thank you very much.
All right, we're moving on to item number 5, discussion and possible action for the approval of sole source purchase of Clarion 415 from Chemtrade Chemicals for 2021.
Yeah, so this is a proprietary chemical that is used down at the water plant, and we typically go through this annually. But this is a fairly large expense, so this chemical is for the removal of iron and manganese within the water before it goes to the distribution system, so.
Is there a motion?
Also move.
I have a motion by Gene. Do I have a second?
I'll second, and I want to ask Scott if he's happy with this.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And
I am
question.
happy with it.
Does it work?
It works very well in the facility we're at. Hopefully, we will not need to add a coagulant in our next facility, but we do need it for the next year and a half or so.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any more discussion? All right. All those in favor of the sole source purchase can signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Number 6 on our agenda, discussion and possible action on the purchase of full-size half-ton pickup.
Yeah, so as you can see, this was budgeted in our 2020 budget for vehicles, and the commission typically makes final approval for the purchase of these once we get the quotes in, so. Overall, with the half-ton truck, it would be Ewald Ford in the amount of $30,176.
Do I have a motion?
Where are they? Yeah,
Hartford, which is down by just north, west of Milwaukee, around the Cabela's area, I guess. A little north of there.
so does that location hamper servicing the vehicle at all?
They do not service it, it's factory warranties that we go through, so we can service it here. But typically, we don't run them down there for service.
Have we purchased from them in the past?
We have. Our last vehicle was a purchase from there.
All right, I would entertain a motion. Motion by Herbst, second by Jean. Any further discussion? Herbst?
Because I'm not a truck person, Scott, tell me what this truck would be used for.
This is just a pickup, which is gonna carry our guys and tools to job sites, pull lawnmowers around town. Our guys use 6 trucks, 7 trucks every day, just going to different jobs, different duties, different tasks. So.
This is replacing a truck, Scott?
This was replacing a truck that was totaled by a former employee this spring.
And we would not modify the muffler system so that it becomes noisy? Good. I like that.
All right, is there any further discussion? All right, it looks like we're ready to vote. All those in favor of purchasing the full-size half-ton pickup can signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. I just want to recognize that I know Mr. Robinson needs to leave shortly for another meeting, so thank you for your participation. Moving on to our last item is discussion and possible action of the purchase of a long wheelbase high roof van.
Yeah, this is the same, to replace, and Ewald Ford again was the low proposer for that van at $44,711.
Is there any advantage in putting the two together? I mean, do we get a better price that way?
We did not. Each vehicle is spec'd separately, and they typically get a price difference. So there's really wasn't an advantage on a proposal or a request for quotes to have them together. No.
Do we ever combine with, or work together with other utilities around the area on purchase of these vehicles? I mean, these are expensive vehicles. I just wonder if there's any economy in working with, Schofield, Mosinee, Rib Mountain on purchasing vehicles like this.
We could definitely look into it. It's not something that we've done in the past.
I know that, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, we can definitely look into it. These prices are actually, in my opinion, were very good compared to what we started looking at.
Okay.
Especially for what we were speccing on the vehicles. So I think they were favorable pricing, but we could definitely look into that in future, or if you want to hold off on this too. But
No, I don't want to hold off on this, but I'm just wondering if in the future, as we go into a year and we know we have to purchase 2 or 3 vehicles, find out if any other utilities are purchasing similar vehicles. Could we go to a provider, with a package and ask for a better price? That's all I'm asking as a taxpayer, basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
not a problem.
All right, I would entertain a motion. Motion by Jean,
I'll second.
second by Force. Is there any further discussion here? All right, all of those in favor of purchasing the long wheelbase high roof van can signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. The last item on our agenda is adjournment. So, motion by Herb, second by Jean. Thank you very much.
When is our next meeting then?
December 1st, 2020, according to the agenda.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.